Free agents, the most coveted players in the offseason. They're the names that could change a franchise's future with one signature. They're the wild cards that spark headlines, trade rumors, and fan debates all summer long. But while most of the big names are off the board, there's still some serious talent left. Players who could swing a playoff race or fill a key role for a contender. So today, we're breaking down the best available free agents still waiting to be signed, where they might land, and what kind of impact they can make. Let's get into it.
And getting straight into it, the first player on our list is going to be Quentin Grimes. Grimes split his time between the Dallas Mavericks and the Philadelphia 76ers in the 2024-25 season. He was a solid role player in Dallas, averaging about 9 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, and 2 assists per game, but had a breakout second half of the season in Philly, averaging about 22 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, and 5 assists per game. Down the stretch of the season, Grimes became Philly's number one option, and can be a solid player for any team who decides to add him this offseason. Two teams that I could see Grimes playing with this next season are either back with the 76ers or with the Brooklyn Nets. The Nets are the only team that would be able to go above the non-taxpayer mid-level threshold, being able to pay Grimes $20+ million per year. Grimes would fit in well with the young Brooklyn core, fitting into their franchise timeline. The 76ers, the more likely option, could potentially make a push next season with Grimes if the team can stay healthy. With Joel Embiid and Paul George expected to make a full recovery for training camp, as well as Jared McCain coming back early in the season, and on top of that having Tyrese Maxey and the third overall pick VJ Edgecombe, I think that the 76ers could make a run in the East this year, especially with it being a little bit lighter. The next player on our list is going to be Jonathan Kuminga. Jonathan Kuminga was one of the first players to sign with the G League Ignite team back in 2020, a league-owned development team for elite prospects. After being drafted by the Warriors 7th overall in 2021, he has had an up-and-down career, but showing a lot of promise and potential along the way. Kuminga averaged a career-high 16.3 points in the 23-24 season, and his stats dipped slightly, but were fairly similar in 24-25. He started out as a main rotation piece last season, but his role diminished after the Jimmy Butler trade, and he missed some time due to injury. Even so, he shined in the playoffs with Curry out and Butler being limited, and averaged nearly 21 points in the West semis against Minnesota. Due to being a restricted free agent, he will likely be back in Golden State, but a few other teams are interested in signing the young rising star. If he doesn't stay with the Warriors, the two places that I could see Kuminga playing this upcoming season are the Sacramento Kings and the Miami Heat. The Kings have been in talks with Golden State in recent weeks for Kuminga, and it might be a good reset for Kuminga to grow into a bigger role there. Miami would be a good fit as well due to the youth on their team and the combination of Kuminga and Hero on the wings with Bam Adebayo in the middle, and that lineup could prove to be dangerous.
Next, we have Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey has been able to revive his career in Chicago after being traded from the OKC Thunder due to his potential fit with the core. I think that Josh Giddey would fit good on a few teams because he's young and he's in line for a big contract. The teams that I think he'd fit well with are the Utah Jazz and the Brooklyn Nets. For the Jazz lack a true lead guard. He could be a full-time point forward. Will Hardy is known for his creativity and player development. Giddey would get time to grow his scoring game and defensive instincts without being rushed like he was in OKC's crowded rotation. Utah has a cap space for a long-term investment in Giddey, and they'd be able to give him a bigger contract, which would be great for the 22-year-old shooting guard. He's looking for a big payday and a bigger role. I think he'd mesh well with players like Keontae George, and they'd be able to build something big in Utah. He aligns well with their timeline, and I think this would be a great destination for him. Next is the Nets. Brooklyn right now has no elite point guard, and they could use Giddey as a jumbo creator alongside Cam Thomas. The Nets aren't competing for anything major right now, so Giddey could get heavy minutes. He'd get freedom to experiment, and he'd be a key piece in Brooklyn's future. In the kicker, Brooklyn has the most cap space in the entire NBA. Giddey could get a payday here, and even if they don't sign, Chicago could match. So Giddey has a lot of leverage when it comes to how much money he can make, but signing with Brooklyn could allow him to rebrand himself in a way that he couldn't next to Shea and Jalen in OKC, and next to Kobe White and Vucevic in Chicago.
The next up on our list of remaining free agents is Al Horford. Horford has proven that he can still play at a very high level this late in his career. Ever since his trade back to Boston in the 2021 offseason, he has been very consistent, averaging almost 40% from three. His elite defense and floor spacing have made him a great asset to the Celtics the past 4 seasons. He would immediately bring great leadership to any team that he ends up on in his 19th NBA season. Due to financial constraints, his tenure in Boston seems to be coming to an end, so it is likely that he will be lacing up in a different uniform for what could potentially be his last season. The two teams that I could see making a run for Horford in free agency are the Golden State Warriors and the Los Angeles Lakers. The Warriors are the more obvious option here because they let their one and only big man go in free agency. He could make an immediate impact in Golden State, helping to spread the floor for Steph and Jimmy Butler. The Lakers are also an interesting option, as both of their centers on the roster don't really stretch the floor or play on the outside, and Horford could also bring good leadership to that locker room alongside LeBron James.
Next, we have Cam Thomas. Cam Thomas is an elite young scorer that's only 24 years old, and he's been making some noise on the Nets. Cam Thomas has been looking for a bigger contract in a place where he can get more playing time. I think that the places he can make some noise are the Chicago Bulls and the Utah Jazz. The Bulls need a scoring guard. Thomas could step in as a high-usage offensive option and possibly start next to Kobe White, giving him more touches and on-ball reps. This could be one of the best young backcourts in the entire NBA. Chicago is shifting from a defensive-minded team to one focused on younger offensive weapons. Thomas fits that mold perfectly and could be one of the faces post-Levine and DeRozan era. For Utah, they lack a true go-to scorer on the perimeter. Thomas could instantly become the team's top isolation scorer, playing alongside structured facilitators like Keontae George and versatile bigs like Lauri Markkanen. The Jazz are clearly leaning into youth and their development. Thomas would have a longer leash to make mistakes, learn better shot selection, and possibly develop as a secondary playmaker in Will Hardy's system. The Jazz can make him a foundational piece in their young core and offer a long-term deal that locks in both money and his goal of a larger role.
The next player on our list of free agents is Chris Paul. CP3 is entering his 20th and final season in the NBA, although he was still very productive in year 19. During his 1 year with San Antonio, he averaged over 7 assists per game, nearly 40% from 3, and over 92% from the free throw line. He also played in all 82 games this last season, proving his health and durability even this late in his career. CP3 has also stated that he would like to stay closer to home in Los Angeles, but that his options remain open. The two teams that I could see CP3 signing with this offseason are the Clippers and the Bucks. Signing with Los Angeles would allow Chris Paul to stay closer to home, while also providing ball handling and facilitation into the Clippers offense that lacks a point guard other than James Harden. The Bucks would also be a fantastic fit, seeing as they have just waived Damian Lillard and traded away Drew Holiday several offseasons ago. CP3 would complement Giannis and Miles Turner very well in Milwaukee, and could help them to make a run in his final season in the NBA. The next player on our list is going to be Ben Simmons. Simmons spent last season split between the Brooklyn Nets and the Los Angeles Clippers. He played in a total of 51 games, averaging 5 points per game, 4.7 rebounds per game, and 5.6 assists per game. The former first overall pick has struggled to stay on the court due to mental and physical reasons the last 5 years, averaging only 33 games per season in that time. His reputation as a championship caliber player has been questioned ever since his infamous playoff moment against the Hawks in 2021 when he passed up a wide open layup due to fear of shooting free throws. Even with these factors, Simmons still has the potential of being a game changer, both with his playmaking and his defense, averaging almost 7 assists per game in his career and having the honors of NBA Defensive Player of the Year and NBA Steals leader on his resume. Whoever signs Simmons will get a solid role player who strives in not being a top option and can potentially lead the second unit. The two teams that I could see having a need for Simmons this offseason are the Los Angeles Clippers and the Miami Heat. Both of these teams lack depth as far as playmakers in the backcourt and wing defenders. The Clippers could use some facilitating and playmaking depth in the backcourt, making Simmons a good option there in a low-pressure role. The Heat could also use some offensive facilitating and wing defense, making him an option for some instant impact in Miami.
Next is Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook just came off a great run with the Denver Nuggets where he fit their six-man role perfectly. I think that Westbrook still has a lot in the tank and still put up pretty decent stats for the Nuggets this year. He could definitely still help a contender and make another run at a championship before his career is over. The teams that I think he could do this with are the Miami Heat and the Milwaukee Bucks. For the Heat, His intensity and work ethic fits the Heat's culture so well, and I think he'd fit in with Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra perfectly. He could thrive in another six-man role behind Tyler Hero, which he served a similar role with Denver, and he'd still be able to be in the lineup to close games if they need it. With all the injuries in the East this year, Russell Westbrook could still help the Miami Heat make another run, keeping their core intact with Hero and Bam Adebayo.
Thanks for watching our best free agents remaining. Let us know in the comments where you think these players are going to go, and if you think there's anyone that we missed. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and keep an eye out for the next video.